As well. Well, okay. Yes,
Going
now.
live now.
Yes, now we are live. Howdy, howdy, howdy. So,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bow-legged elephants, three-legged ants.
um, okay, yeah. I knew you were going to do something crazy like that.
It is time for another exciting episode of
Kemetic Reform Service. So, yes, another exciting episode. Oh, well, how is this? How are you, Yamanu?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How are you all?
We're doing pretty good, all things considered. I think you were having fun playing more Gundam.
Let's
see.
play.
Okay, and we got 4 folks on. Howdy, howdy, welcome. It's funny. It's kind of a short week this week because of Labor Day. So it's always like, once the work week gets started, you kind of feel like you're playing catch up a little bit. So,
Yes, it's very laborious getting over Labor Day.
oh well, it's kind of like you have a vacation and then you want a vacation from the vacation.
Yes.
But
Yeah, Shannon was musing the other day. She needs 2 days off in a row, basically.
Well, that's good.
She needs 2 days. She doesn't always get that.
Yeah. And I have some fresh candles. I was able to get some wax and refill the Sekhmet candle. And I have an Aset candle and a Neath candle that are refilled. So, yay. And, hey, Scott, welcome back. And to our other folks that are tuning in, welcome. This evening, earlier this week was on the calendar is a holiday called Moving Sand for Anubis. Now, we don't know very much about that one other than it dates from about the Middle Kingdom. So I just said, well, he will be our guest of honor tonight. And we'll also, because it's September 11th, definitely, include prayers, for them. I've got a list of some prayer requests. I was able to print some out, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. And Darren is back with us, so yay. Yeah. All right.
Just wait until you get to the cold water.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just picking up the vase. So, we'll see. Okay, so let's get started with that.
Yes, far be it to deny Yamanu of the joy of my torture.
Oh, come on, there. It's just cold tap water. These cool waters are upon my hands. They purify me as Tiffany purifies me. Hail unto you, Inexorable. We come unto you without falsehood and without evil. Our purities upon our hands, purities within our hearts. We've cast out all evil that pertains to us. We are pure, we are pure, we are pure, we are pure.
It's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Yes, that's our story, and we're sticking to it. We are asperging one another right now. Here, you want a towel? There. Okay. See, this is why I don't think, I think you have to draw a line somewhere when you're trying to be Reconstructionist, because these things are really handy. If you Yeah, well, think about it. My theory is that a lot of the texts that were being recited, the spells for striking the torch, lighting the candles, all that, that somebody was reading that while somebody else was sitting there with flint and a blade and sitting there trying to strike and get a spark.
So basically, it was please God, let this work.
Well, they probably, had somebody who had a lot of experience with it by that point, but, I'm sure a lot of pre-industrial people would look at us and be like, what do you mean you can't start a fire? But it kind of takes a minute.
And I'd have to tell them, we didn't start the fire.
It was always burning since the world's been turning.
That's right.
Thank you, Billy Joel.
I imagine it must have been interesting being a wild priest on the first day on the job,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, I have an Anubis candle on the altar, but I'm not lighting it because it's technically not ours. It is part of the inventory, but it's going to soak up some good mojo. So somebody will go on Etsy and get a candle that, is part of the service tonight. But in the meantime, come in peace, bright eye of Horus. Come in peace. There we go. Receive the light. The eye of Horus shines like Ra in the twin horizons, and evil hides in fear of it. Receive the light.
Receive joy.
The eye of Horus destroys the enemies of Ra and all of their abodes till none remain. Receive the light.
Receive joy.
The eye of Horus comes. And we are purified with it. Receive the light. You arise in the Aketis Kofri, O Ra, spreading your light upon the earth. You set in peace in the mountains of Manu as a tomb, bringing your light to Duat. Shine upon earth as you do in heaven in Duat. Hail and praise unto you, O Ra, who came from Nun at the first time, for such is your uniqueness. Hail and praise unto you, O Ra, who placed Hu at your left side, for such are the words you commanded. Hail and praise unto you, O Ra, who placed Sia at your right side, for such are for such is your great wisdom. Hail and praise unto you, O Ra, whose Hika goes before you, for such is your ability. Hail and praise unto you, O Ra, who rules with Ma'at upon your brow, for such is your righteousness. Hail and praise unto you, O Ra, and hail and praise unto you, O Anapu, and you Necharu, you lords of love and lords of life. Grant us life, well-being, and health. May our eyes perceive your goodness and our hearts receive your wisdom. May you shine upon us as you traverse the sky, that we may bring to you Ma'at and cast out Svet. And may you guard us from the evil one through the dark hours of the night, your protection being before us and your strength being within us. Take these, your cool waters, which are the inundation, that they may cool your hearts. Ra, Anapud, the Unechader. These waters are the eye of Horus, that your hearts may be refreshed. Milk, milk, may you taste it in your shrine. May our hearts be refreshed with it. We bring you this milk from the great flood, that you may be purified with it. We give you incense. We give you incense great to purity. This incense is the eye of Horus, and its fragrance comes to you, cleanses you, it adorns you, takes its place upon your hands. This incense is the eye of Horus. Anapu, I mentioned it. Its fragrance comes to you. Take this, your bread on which gods live. This bread is the eye of Horus, so mentioned it. Lift it to your faces and be at peace with it. The gardens prosper and happy rejoices, overflowing with his meal. We fill this eye of Horus for you with wine, O Ra, O Anapu, O Yunachiru. Drink and be pure. The doors of heaven and the doors of earth are open with libations for you within this house. May your faces be refreshed with your libations, your wine and your water. Okay, Derek, I bet this is what it was that was having you sleepy. We'll find out in a minute. Thanks for the light or myrrh. Pure. Pure is Ra Horaketi within his house. Pure is Anapu within his house. Pure is the Ka of Ra with this good myrrh that is given. Pure is the Ka of Anapu with this good myrrh that is given. Pure are the Kas of all of these Nacharu with this good myrrh that is given. Jehuti proclaims it. It is written in his house of sacred words. Hapi gives in abundance, thousands of offerings, all things good and pure. For Ra Horaketi, for Anapu, for all of these Nacharu, in every place that there are mortal Kas dwell. Come to your body, O Ra Horaketi. Come to your body, O Anapu. Come to your bodies, O Nacharu. Come to your invocation. Come unto us, your servants, who are mindful of your feasts and your offerings. Bring your power, your hika, your honor, and your ba to these your offerings, and partake of them. Come, O people, raise these offerings before the faces of these gods. Lift them before Ra, before Anapu, before these Nacharu. All life comes from them, all health comes from them, all stability comes from them, all good fortune comes from them as it has since the first time. O Ra Horaketi and your son, the Osir Nisun of Keperura, your foes retreat from you. Horus turns himself to his eye. Turn yourselves to these, your offerings, and receive them from our hands. And we will, there we go. I'm going to step across the camera so we can include our blessed dead in these offerings. It's Eye of Horus. Receive the light. May you receive this water from us, from the offering table of the Osiris. And we'll include some myrrh, because on this day we give cause to remember many people who flew west earlier than intended. Sorry, where's this? Orkere ta henket kakao apdu sunetrumahak kutnibet nofre wabet onket nacharim and cow in akupunibu ma kerunibu kirunachara. Voice offering of bread, beer, 1,000 of beef and fowl, incense, oils, and all good and pure things on which a god lives, for the cause of all of these Akud, all true of voice before the great God. We come unto you, O Ra, as Jehuti comes, our hands joined under Ma'at. Ma'at has come to be with you in every place where you are. An offering of Ma'at is made unto you, that your heart may be pleased and your Kash and live. Truly, your need has Ma'at, for they know you live in her. The need says unto you, your word is law eternally. Isfet is cast out by your word. Rejoicing is yours every day. Ma'at has taken her place in your shrine. May we always act with gentility and compassion for such as the first Ma'at. May we always offer charity and hospitality for such as the second Ma'at. May we always respect consent and fidelity for such as the third Ma'at. May we always avoid violence and promote wellness for such as the fourth Ma'at. May we always speak words of truth for such as the fifth Ma'at. May we always promote the public good for such as the sixth Ma'at. May we always act humbly and with temperance for such as the seventh Ma'at. May we always honor our gods and respect others for such as the eighth Ma'at. May we uphold Ma'at like Jehuti. We may witness Ra's perfection every day. And welcome to everyone who's joining us as we go along. As I just look over and see the column of comments is growing. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, well, good to see. I'm seeing our usual faces, and good to see you guys. And welcome to everyone else who's a newcomer. Hopefully, you can learn something while you're here. As I mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, we're honoring Anubis specifically tonight because this week he had a festival. So we're going to start with a prayer to him, and we'll include other deities as requested. So this is a short one, but it's drawn from the London Leiden Papyrus because there are not a whole lot of surviving works to different deities. Most of the ones that you find in temples are to your big deities like Amun-Ra, and we've found like the crossword hymn to Mut and stuff like that. With Anubis and Bast, as popular as they are today, we kind of have to put materials together to come up with prayers and hymns for them. So, hail and praise, O Anupu, great God upon your mountain, master of secrets in Duat, ruler of the west, fair son of Osir, great physician who heals, your seal is our protection. Crown prince of the Aeneid, keen-faced among the gods, you stand at Osir's side, you serve the blessed dead, they live because of you. And Anubis, of course, came to be very popular as time went on, and by the Roman era, he was being invoked for healing and even for some love spells. So his roles kind of expanded as time went on. And we definitely have some prayer requests that we will be directing to you, Anubis. One thing I can say, having worked with him, is he's people talk about having the patience of a saint. Try the patience of a deity. He definitely has that, and he definitely has a keen ear and is a good listener. So. Okay. Let's see if we have any other requests. Okay.
I think it would be appropriate.
Huh?
That it would seem to be appropriate that Anubis and Web Wall Wet, Fast, they would all be good listeners because they have really large ears.
Yeah. Well, between that and yeah, Yamano was observing that with those large ears, of course that he would be a very good listener. But also, if you think about it, Anubis is involved in initiations, and when you're uh, transitioning from one state in your life to the next, and you're going to have a lot of questions, and so and a lot of issues, and just again in my experience, and of course our friend Jennifer also is a devotee of Anubis, and you know um, that's something that we've all noticed about him is he's very patient with people, and and also when you think about what he does when you reach the court of Osiris, you know um, you need someone who's a good listener to be able to hear people's testimony about their life.
I would definitely say that Anubis and, well, basically all the underworld gods are fairly patient.
Yeah.
Kind of have to be in their line of work, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I tell you what, no one has more of that sense of patience and absolutely no rush than Osiris. Of course, when you consider it, Osiris, he has all of eternity. He's not going anywhere, so why rush? So come on, bud. So tell you what, let's go ahead and since this has been a year for Sekhmet, and we've got a new candle for her, so let's go ahead and include our prayers for her as well. So I'll inaugurate the refreshed candle. Hail Sekhmet the Great, Eye of Ra, who hides him within her iris. Hail Sekhmet, sovereign, mistress of light, who moves in brightness. In peace, Sekhmet, mistress of darkness, at whose setting the darkness comes. In peace, Sekhmet, mistress of fear, whose seal brings death. Hail unto you, Sekhmet, daughter of Ra, who loves Ma'at and who detests Zizvet. Most holy of the gods, one seeks life in you. Oh, Yinachuru, we come to you this evening with praise and with thanks and with these prayers humbly from those in our community. Yamanu has asked for health and guidance and being in a better place financially. And also, so is our friend Katie Orsetta. She's also trying to get into a better place financially. And apparently, we need to offer prayers for Sudan because they've been experiencing record floods of the Nile, and it's threatening some of the ancient sites in Sudan, aka Nubia. What a lot of people don't realize, and this is definitely something worth pointing out, is that there are a lot of monuments in Nubia that nobody knows about. And because it doesn't get the press that the Egyptian monuments do. There are temples. There's even a temple, and I don't remember the place name off the top of my head, if it's Kalabsha or if it was a different place, but it was commissioned by Tutankhamun. And his name is in the surviving, reliefs and the inscriptions in it. But the native sandstone that they use hasn't held up as well over time as what the Egyptian monuments have. And also there hasn't been the same push to explore and record and preserve these monuments as you have in Egypt. And the last thing we would want is for things like that to disappear without anyone ever having gone and really done an intensive study of it. Because certainly the one thing that all gods would deplore is knowledge lost. and opportunities lost because people didn't pay attention and seek it out. And so that's consider that your PSA for the evening. And of course, they're dealing with wildfires in California, and and throughout the West Coast. And of course, the virus continuing to be a problem for people. Wolf has asked for prayers for those who are still struggling because it's still 2020. And even when it turns to 2021, we will still need the God's help because their reach is so much greater than ours. Come on. Woo-woo. I'm going to peek over here and see if anyone else has some questions. Someone's asking, would it be off base to say that Wepawet has a similar role to Ganesha? If I understand Ganesha correctly, as one who overcomes obstacles and opens paths, then it's quite possible. And so if you want to look at him in that respect, then sure. But keep in mind also that Neith also has the title Opener of the Ways, so she can kind of take on some of those roles too. I think Wepawet has gotten a lot of attention, especially in the Kemetic community, because he's kind of like, Anubis's lesser known brother, but Nietzsche could fill the same role.
And to some degree, so did Mahes.
Yeah. And I must give thanks to Mahes because we were able to make it through the storms okay. And now there are people who are still living in hotels, while they're waiting to get power back on, or to, get some kind of, dwelling that's not damaged, down in Southwest Louisiana. So we also want to extend our thoughts, our prayers, our encouragement, and our help wherever it can be put forth. If there happens to be anyone who lives, around that area, and you have someone that you can, and that needs a place to stay, take them in, because it's going to be a while rebuilding. Let's see. Pardon me, just a minute, guys. Come on, Boo. I think the incense put you to sleep. Yes, I think a combination of I think there's myrrh and I don't know if it was myrrh and sandalwood, if it was the one of my other instances, but it seems to put Darren to sleep.
Every time.
Well, do you have any prayer requests for us?
Yes.
Okay.
For all of those missing loved ones from this day 20 years ago. And for all of those who have been displaced from Laura. Southwest Louisiana needs a lot, and it isn't getting it. New Orleans gets a cup of water, and there's a telethon full of millionaires asking you to help out. Lake Charles has gotten nothing.
I wonder if the Red Cross would be someplace people could go to.
I don't know. I haven't heard of where it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Send them prayers, send them love. They need it. There isn't much left of my hometown.
I kind of want to make a joke about Holly Beach is an even more of a bummer of a place to visit than it was. But
Well, I think of all the businesses that made Holly Beach what it is,
Mm.
and they're completely destroyed.
just so you know, Holly Beach is it's right on the coast, isn't it? It's right on the Gulf of Mexico.
Right, it is in Cameron Parish, and the
Yeah.
entirety of Cameron Parish has been deemed uninhabitable by man or animal.
Wow. Yeah, but the joke with Holly Beach, because it's you think of going to the beach and it's beautiful crystal sands and ocean breezes and stuff like that, and Holly Beach has always been kind of depressing. From what you're saying, it's like the beach is dirty, it's full of mosquitoes, and the joke was like there's the Boudreaux and Thibodeau. They got a prize from a local radio station, and I think it was Thibodeau says.
I got first prize.
I got a week at Holly Beach, and Boudreaux says I got second prize. I got 2 weeks at Holly Beach.
Yeah,
So,
well,
yeah.
no, there is no Holly Beach.
Yeah, Boudreaux and Thibodeau aren't going to Holly Beach anytime soon. So
And the folks that made their living there did it in the oil industry.
Mm-hmm.
Between oil and shrimping and
Yeah.
boating and tourism, that's where they made their living. And it's not the kind of tourism that is New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Southwest Louisiana really was a great snapshot of what the Cajun lifestyle is today. And I spoke with my best friend from elementary school this afternoon, and she's like, Darren, there's nothing here. There are no services. They just got power back on in some spots yesterday.
Wow.
Most of Lake Charles is still dark. The entire power grid was destroyed.
Yeah. So we definitely want, so and actually the funny thing is, a couple of weeks ago, we almost had to pause the broadcast. We were a little later getting on, in part because we were wondering if we were going to have to go down to Colfax to check on a friend's dad. And it turns out he was able to, get his phone recharged and get some medicine, some other stuff. But, we were kind of, in the ready in case we had to go and help. But I'm going to check and see if we've got any other requests. Let's see. Okay. Oh, we've got somebody else who's new.
Welcome.
Let's see. Yes, absolutely. Welcome. Okay. Yeah. And we're, asking some more questions. Yeah. And we're asking about, Wepawet, and is he kind of like the Royal Scout? Well, the thing with Wepawet is he was another son of Osiris. And in the big Osiris mysteries that you would have in Abydos, there would be a procession where they would go from the temple out into the old cemetery, and Wepawet would be leading the way. And so he acted almost in a capacity similar to Horus. And he was the good son who would repel the enemies of Osiris, which in the procession for the festival, that meant there was kind of like a mock combat, and they would turn away the enemies of Osiris, which of course would have been, the associates of Set. And, you could think of it as sort of like the ancient forerunner to the medieval mystery plays. And that's, the role. I think, well, Yamano, you were saying something about, you can think of it as Anubis meets you at the door, but Anubis is the one who takes you and brings you there.
Yeah. Essentially, Anubis acts like the usher.
Mm-hmm.
And he meets you at the door, checks you in,
Mm-hmm.
and then his brother takes you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He will meet you again afterwards
Mm-hmm.
at the next session.
Yeah. And of course, this Wepawet may have, he has a canine form, but they think he may have been a wolf rather than a jackal. But it's especially the way they depicted them. It's so hard to tell that to most outside observers they both look the same. Yeah, and with that's why it helps to kind of learn a little bit of the Egyptian hieroglyphs, because a lot of times when you see pictures of them, you can't really tell like who's that goddess. Just if you can tell what she has either on her head or next to her, in terms of the hieroglyphs, a lot of times that'll tell you. Same thing with Anubis or Wepawet, and or hawk-headed deities. You get into fun stuff with them. What they have on their head or what they have written next to them is oftentimes your only clue.
I noticed that when people try to colorize, they try to draw wet more or less a gray or a pale color.
Yeah. Wepawet is often more gray. Yeah.
Whereas Anubis is always black.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that Wepawet's, I'm sorry, did I say that right? Wepawet?
Well, that's why most people say it. I think if my hunch is that if you're trying to get as close as possible to the original language, it might have been something like Upwahut. But the way it gets rendered by most people, Wepawet. Yeah.
But anyways, I find it interesting that you depicted more wolf-like than jackal-like, because I know jackals are but I didn't think wolves were.
Well, and somebody was asking if she didn't think wolves were common in Egypt. Well, for one thing, you have to remember that this would have been 2,000 years ago. You would have had a lot of things that you don't find now, like lions, leopards, lots of other things. You don't even find as many crocodiles.
Really?
Yeah, north of the dam, you don't find very many of them. So and if you go and you look like what's cool about Wikipedia is a lot of times people like to diss Wikipedia, but if you've got some articles where people have done some really good research, and apparently they've identified by doing DNA studies a subspecies of I think it was an African wolf, whatever, but they've identified it as an Egyptian wolf, and it's kind of like a golden color, and so they're still found like in the highlands in Ethiopia, and a couple of thousand years ago before they were overhunted.
I didn't know if they had any relation to possibly maybe their descendants or something.
Actually, let me see, because I did dig that up from my book, and where did I set it? So when we talked about Wepawet, I put it in here. So
Sounds like something. Too bad. I don't think wolf is available.
okay.
Oh yeah, we're still in chat.
Okay, here we go. Recent mitochondrial DNA studies have determined that the Egyptian jackal, at one time considered a variant of the golden jackal, should actually be considered a subspecies of African wolf. Hence the Egyptian wolf, Canis anthus lupaster. And technically the African wolf is related more distantly to the gray wolf. So,
Wow.
so if you're like one of these folks that loves wolves and, that's like your totem animal or something, and you find yourself drawn to Anubis or to Wepawet, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Can we turn that fan down? It's going
okay. Yeah, Darren was wondering about the flame because, he's thinking the fan is like blowing it all over the place, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to catch anything.
All right.
Yeah, but
If it does, please send your donations to Patreon. We need lots of help.
I'm not going to let that happen. So, okay. Someone's going to be asking, I had a place to ask just for praise to Anubis. Oh, absolutely. It would be okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, Travis is just saying, praise to Anubis because, things have been going well, and absolutely. We come to them when we need things, but it's also okay to say, hey, thank you. Things have been going really well. And I have to say, so far this summer, things have been going pretty good for us too, and I'm very grateful for that. So, hail and praise unto you, Anubis. most famous of the Egyptian gods. Well, alongside Bast and Isis, I think. But we've seen how you take care of those that are under your sway, and we praise you and we thank you for it. And it wouldn't be a Kemetic Reform service without doing a divination to see if they have any message for us this week.
These are spiritual dog biscuits this week.
Well, maybe one of these days I'll have to record my routine that I do about the triple goddess and Anubis.
Yes.
You know, the thing is, most of the folks around here, when we do stand up, don't get it. We had one friend who watched something on National Geographic and actually saw that they actually had Wiccans on it, and he called us up saying he'd like fallen off his couch laughing because he finally got it. But
He spends most of his time high.
yeah. Well, and again, people who might be tuning in for the first time might find it really strange and go, well, why are you pulling a fortune cookie? Well, in ancient times, people would go to a temple, and especially in the Roman era, this was very common. They would, especially if they had like a yes or no or an either or question, they would have two tickets that would be brought in to the temple and would be placed before the deity, and they would do the divination, and the one that was the answer would be brought out to them. So it's really not that different from this. And actually, our friend Preston went to a Shinto temple, and they had something where I think you got a number from a vending machine, and then you brought it to them, and then they pulled the corresponding stick that had the little fortune on it or something like that. So even in places like that, they're going to stuff that's a little more high tech, but it's still divination. So we pull a fortune cookie, and this is the one that keeps trying to go on top. So I think this is our fortune for this week. So we'll see what they say. Okay. Huh. This is interesting. It says, the philosophy of one century is the common sense of the next. See, to me, what that says is, the things, because think about what philosophy is. We're just conjecturing or going, this is just my way of looking at things. Well, in time, it will be borne out. And eventually everyone will go, oh, well, that's just common sense. Well, at one time it wasn't. So like all these things that we're doing right now, it may, seem, like it's just philosophy, but hey, that means one day, there could be a lot more people who say, well, what's so strange about it? This is what we do.
Well, I imagine it wasn't common for everybody to wash their hands at one point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Yamana was saying at one time it wasn't common for everyone to wash their hands.
Yeah, and that's why things had an aftertaste.
Well, actually, no. What's really interesting is they've done studies of mummies from ancient Egypt, and they found out what things people were sick with. A lot of them were things that are preventable now because we know, okay, wash your hands after handling certain things. And they didn't know that, and so they were sick with a lot of things, that's it's kind of depressing just to read about.
So many things are stopped just by washing your hands.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes. And okay. So we got some more questions. Prayers for all the humans that are animals that are in the path of the wildfires, definitely. And someone asked about Anubis being helpful in divination. There were a lot of texts that are part of what we call the Greek magical papyri. and that's because they were written during the Greek and the Roman era, in not just native Egyptian language, but also a lot of things in Greek. And so you had a lot of, cultural exchange. And so that's when they started doing things like water scrying. But they would often invoke Anubis for that. So there's definitely a historical precedent for that.
A lot of times they were using children as the.
Yeah, they would have a little boy basically act as like a spotter. And so, the person who wanted to do the divination would have the little boy lay down on a brick and would intone something 7 times in his ear, and then have him, of course, if you're saying this repeatedly in the right, rhythm and intonation, you're kind of inducing an altered state of consciousness and having, this kid stare into a bowl and then report what they see. So that was the way they did it back then. We don't know if that was something that the ancient Egyptians themselves did. It seems to be more of a Greek thing. But it makes perfect sense to have Anubis involved with divination. And so that's why we had him give us a fortune cookie. So.
Are we sure it wasn't a dog busy?
Yes, Darren's like, are we sure it wasn't a dog biscuit? Well, I don't know how to answer that. But yeah, we also want somebody had requested, because there are a lot of people and animals that have been fleeing the wildfires, not just in California, but I think also in Oregon, and other places, in the western United States. They're having a really bad fire season this year.
It's probably best to ask Sekhmet on that one.
Yes.
Foremost in the House of Flame.
Yes. Good point. Sekhmet, foremost in the House of Flame. Please guide all of the people and the animals that are in the paths of these fire to safety, and bring healing to those who've been hurt by them.
And help them put these fires out.
Yes. Yes. Can we need rains. We need the cool wind off the Pacific.
Eshu and Tefnut provide assistance.
Yes. Eshu and Tefnut bring the healing rains that they so desperately need. But, okay. Just gonna peek over and see. Okay, and Serena would like a divination, because she's been having weird dreams. Okay. Well, let's see if they can offer us any clues. Anuppa, if you can help us to gain some insight for Serena. And let's see, this one right here. And it says, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Time to do some reading, I guess. Huh?
Sound like something Tahuti would say.
Oh. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, because, well, in response to what Christian was saying about, after Darren asked about the dog biscuits, I heard about Whoppers. Well, Anubis seems to like chocolates, so I've got some chocolates on the offering plate, and Whoppers would be a kind of chocolate, so
right.
Something crunchy.
Chocolate malt and crunchy.
Yeah, so go for it. Okay, and Jory, I see you're on, and you had some prayer requests to the Theban Triad and to Sekhmet. I think did you put those on the Facebook page. Let's see.
Probably put them in the chat.
Okay, yeah. I tell you what. Let me see if I can scroll up real quick. Okay. Okay, now somebody's saying that they're taking care of their wife, who's a school teacher, and was having, issues and anxiety attacks, and stuff like that. And okay, and we've got some folks with some unspoken prayers. Okay, hang on. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I see some comments about making chocolates. I tell you what, that's harder to do than it sounds. And I tried that because for the Transformers convention one year, I wanted to try and make some chocolates, and I had made like some latex molds. Problem is, you got to get the right kind of chocolate for melting. Otherwise, it comes out, the color looks weird, and like nobody wanted them, and they said that I was told that they did not look like chocolate, so that's a technical challenge. Y'all go ahead and try that and let us know how it works.
I'm looking it up for you, but so far, as far as what Jory's saying, he's asking for help and dealing with infection and stress.
Okay, so we have more prayer requests. Absolutely. From Jory, who's having, trouble with his health. And
I'm sorry to hear Jory's not well.
Huh?
I'm sorry to hear Jory isn't feeling well.
Yeah. Well,
I know he's been dealing with that on and off, but I didn't know he was still dealing with that. I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah. Tell you what, well, and he specifically he honors the Theban triad, being Amen, Mut, and Khonsu, and Amen and Mut are on the altar, and Sekhmet. So, if you would please continue to look after Jory, and tell you what, let me read from a couple of prayers that I've got here. Hear us, O Amen, O Mut, great Lord and Lady of Thebes, and place your arms of blessing around Jory. Let Jory rejoice in your bounty, and his heart take joy in your kindness. Tell Neet and Upwaut to open their ways for Jory, and may you protect him with your strong arms of compassion. For you are the All-Lord and the Queen of the Nutchadu, Lord and Lady of Ma'at. Holy and splendid are your names. And also to you, O Ra, Khopri at dawn, Atum at dusk, Ra Hodaketi as you rule the nine. And may all of you, O Nutchadu, grant us life, prosperity, and health, alertness, favors, and affection. May our eyes see you every day as one's righteous who set you in their hearts. Supply our needs of bread and drink, and guard our mouths in speaking. Come to us and give us counsel. Make us heedful of your wisdom. When one appeals to you, you come from afar. Lend your ear to the lonely and the poor. May you give breath to those who are wretched, and bread to those who have none. Guardians of the weak, may you set the oppressed free, and let your blessings surpass all wealth. Doing okay? Yeah, I know a lot of folks are having, kind of a tough time right now, and I guess maybe it's just one of those points, as the year goes through its cycle, and things are always in flux, and sometimes people are doing well, and other times, people have a tougher time of it. We're
Yeah.
I don't know if getting closer to the equinox, might have anything to do with it, or what. I don't think Mercury's in retrograde right now. So, although,
No, he comes and goes.
huh?
He comes and goes.
Well, see, from what I understand, right now Mercury's visible in the evening, or is going to be, but I don't know if that means it's in retrograde. Now, in Egyptian thought, Mercury was associated with Set. So,
Really?
yeah, so the idea of Mercury being in retrograde, and some of the associations with it, the communication being more difficult and stuff like that. Yeah, it kind of makes a little more sense when you think of it that way. So. Mm-hmm.
I definitely can see where people have the combination where they might associate it with Mars.
Yeah.
Because he does have those attributes too. So how do we do both?
Okay. Oh, and Josh, let me look and see what your prayer for inner peace and well rested sleep. Definitely. Okay. And okay, so who likes cinnamon and nutmeg and mace? Of course, cinnamon. I know cinnamon was used as an ancient spice. We think that T-Sheps was cinnamon. Praise to Jehuti, to Toth. May he guide the hands and minds of those who seek knowledge and wisdom. Okay. Oh, Mars is in retrograde. Yes, and could you go and see Mars? Actually, Mars is if you go out later this evening, you should be able to, of course, obviously depending on the weather conditions, but yeah, Mars is trying to think when it comes up, but you'll be able to see it rising in the evening, so it'll be in the eastern sky. But okay, so prayers for things to go better at work. And from Alejandro and Josh would like more restful sleep. And Lady Osset, if you could send peace and rest to our friend Josh, and let him sleep as soundly as, of course, the child sleeps when he is in your arms. And may Alejandro have a better week at work. It's been a tough week, but it's over now. May you have a restful weekend and be able to start over fresh come Monday. Okay, how long have we been on? Let's see. Okay, this is about right, about an hour. It's typically how we run. Let's see. Judge saying my dreams are like stories in 3D. I love you, Constantly, but I don't need a 3D 8K experience every night. Oh my, that sounds interesting. Or maybe not. Yeah, may you have some restful sleep this weekend. I think last night I dreamed that Galvatron was taking me toy shopping. Okay, and it's kind of funny when they're on the shelf and they're like trying to get you to come, go shopping with them. It's like, see, I'm over here. No, I'm over here. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead. I guess you can call this sort of a last call, before we wrap it up. But I'm always glad to have everyone here. Newcomers, familiar faces, or usernames, and it's always great to be able to do this. And hope you guys get something good, from our time together. Let's see. The time. Yeah, we were doing those kinds of things. Wow. You know what? Sounds like you might need some things in order to kind of calm your space down.
What are you reading?
Okay, Josh is saying when you're dealing with time travel or horrors from the dark, you might think twice.
About?
Like dreams, when you're having dreams of stuff like this. You know, so
always keep something in mind. Anytime we dream, whether it be good or bad, it is our brain's way of literally cleaning out the garbage in our head. It helps restore neurons.
Okay.
It helps with mood. It helps get brain function better. So sometimes if you're in the middle of horrors, it's literally taking out the garbage, and the best way to deal with night terrors is ask yourself, what am I doing when my eyes are open?
Now, another thing you can do if you need to just try and quiet your space psychically before you go to bed. If you can put together, your own sort of natron. This is made from table salt and baking soda. I remember we kind of had to do this for my brother when we were in a pinch. We didn't have the opportunity to take them and put them in solution and then let it evaporate out. We just took some salt and baking soda and combined them. If you're in a real pinch and you need something, salt to cleanse, you can do that. It's nice to be able to blend your own, but in a pinch, just get some of that and cast it at the thresholds, of your house.
And windowsills as well.
And your windowsills. And if you've got something that you smudge with, do that too. And
Four corners of the room.
Huh?
Four corners of the bedroom.
Yeah, in the four corners of the room, and I think what I have is in the name of the four noble ladies, whose flame is in their mouths, whose fire goes before them. I encircle this room so that no male or female dead, no evil spirits, may come into this room, and because if you think about it, the four goddesses that were at the corners of pictured at the corners of sarcophagi also were invoked to guard a place where people slept. So you'd have Isis and Nephthys, Serket and Neat. So those are the four noble ladies. Hope that's something that'll it helps kind of some rough and ready hika, but it's very helpful for trying to carve out a calm space so that you can rest. Yeah. Okay, so has the Discord been made yet? I'm not on Discord yet, but Josh is kind enough to give us the link, and I actually was able to approve some member requests on the Facebook group. I'm still very much behind on that, but just bear with me. Little by little, I'm able to add things. And I think some of the two questions that I had for people, to answer might have been a little confusing, so I need to reword them. But again, just bear with me. Sometimes good things take a little while in coming to fruition.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Yeah. Something like that. All right. Well, let us say a prayer for these offerings to endure until we meet again. And hopefully next week at the same time. So, hail unto you, Atum. Hail unto you, Khafre. You come into being upon the primeval hill. You shine forth upon the shrine of the phoenix in Unu. You breathe out Shu and Tefnut. May the giving of these offerings endure, as the name of Atum, foremost of the great need, endures. May they endure as the name of Shu, Lord of Upper Menset in Yunu, endures. As the name of Tefnut, Mistress of Lower Menset in Yunu, endures. As the name of Geb at the Earth's Ba endures. As the name of Nut in the Shrine of Shanit in Yunu endures. As the name of Osir Kentiamentiu endures. As the name of Aset in Necheru endures. As the name of Sutek in Nubet endures. As the name of Horus in Pe endures. As the name of Wajit in Dep endures. As the name of Jehuti in Kemenu endures. As the name of Ra and the Aket endures likewise for eternity. You have come in peace, O Ra. You have come in peace, O Anapu, O Yunachuru. May you go forth in peace, O Ra. May you go forth in peace, O Anapu, and all of Yunachuru, to every place your mortal cause wish to be. May you sail in joy in the Menjet bark, and rest content in the Sektet bark. And may you smile upon us, your humble servants. Thanks for being here, everyone. Okay, you're about to ask for the Facebook page. The Facebook page is the Kemetic Reform, yeah. And again, bear with me. And again, the questions that I ask is basically because this is for Kemetic Reform. If someone's practicing as part of the House of Nature or something like that, this is a different philosophy, and we kind of don't want a whole lot of bleed over, if you will. And also we're not in this about genealogy and Pan-African movement, which that's a whole other thing. There are other groups that do that. That's fine, but that's not our focus here. So that's why the questions on when you apply to the Facebook group, ask what they do. So hopefully that's not not so confusing, for folks. But anyway, cool. I will get to them as I can, and hopefully see you guys soon. Big hugs.
Bow wow wow.
Yes.
Bow wow.
Yes. Darren likes to do the words to Atomic Dog for Anubis.
See you next week.